In example 6, we're going to perform row operations on a 3x3 augmented matrix to obtain row echelon form. Remember, row echelon form means we want ones in the diagonals and zeros below it. Now, since we see that the first row already has a 1 in the upper left-hand corner, the next step is to make the 2 a 0. In order to do that, we're going to multiply row 1 by -2 and add it to row 2. So we're going to take -2, multiply it by 1, plus 2 gives you 0. -2 times -3 is +6, minus 5 gives you 1. -2 times 4 is -8, plus 6, which is -2. -2 times 3 is -6, plus 6 gives you 0. So now we got 1 and then a 0, and then we want to make this -3 also a 0. So again, we're going to use row 1 to make this a 0. So the opposite of -3 is +3. So that means we're going to multiply row 1 by 3 and then add it to row 3. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus -3 is 0. 3 times -3 is -9, plus 3 is -6. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9, and plus 6 is 15. So now we have 1 in the upper left-hand corner. We have a 0 and a 0 here. We have a 1 here. So we want to make this a 0. So we're going to use row 2 now and use that 1 and multiply it by the opposite of whatever this number is, which is -6. So we're going to multiply it by 6. So 6, you're going to multiply it by row 2 and add it to row 3. So row 1 stays the same, row 2 stays the same, but we're changing row 3. 6 times 0 is 0 to give us 0. 6 times 1 is 6, minus 6 gives us 0. 6 times -2 is -12, and -12 plus 16 is 4. And 6 times 0 is 0, plus 15 gives you 15. So now the last thing we want to do is that we want to make this a diagonal of 1 since everything below it is 0. So in order to make this 4 a 1, we can multiply it by 1/4. So 1/4 times all the elements in row 3. Well, 1/4 times 0 is 0. 1/4 times 0 is 0. 1/4 times 4 is 1. And 1/4 times 15 is 15 over 4. And now we've accomplished what they were asking us to do. It's in row echelon form. They're not asking us to solve this. They're just saying, how is this in row echelon form? Well, we got 1s in our diagonals, and we have 0s underneath it. And what this does is, this 1 over here tells us that we have z, which is equal to 15 over 4. And then we would back substitute to find the x and y variables.